So the front hedge project is coming along slowly but surely. I started this, I forget when exactly. I'll put the little card to show when I first started this. But I started this because I needed to fell a couple of dying pine trees, and I figured I might as well use the biomass and create a front little privacy hedge kind of thing. And yeah, it's been coming along nicely. The summer is winding down, so these turmerics are about to start going dormant. They never truly flowered, which is kind of unfortunate, so hopefully they do. Maybe there just wasn't enough umph this season to get to the flower. Not a lot of rain this season, but anyways. I'm really happy with how this is turning out, and considering of all the places where I absolutely don't water, the front hedge gets the least water out of all the places where I, what am I trying to say? It's just the front hedge is the place where I hardly ever water. So it's really nice to see that it's still popping off, even though it gets the least love in terms of like spot watering. But it is really close to the mulch pile, so it does get regular applications of mulch because it's obviously very easy for me to mulch it. So that, plus the fact that it is on the swale, on the front ditch swale thing here, holding that water there, probably helps big time, or definitely helps big time. So just kind of wanted to go over like the design of how I did it, because it's really shining. The design really shines through now that it's a little older. So this is south right here, this is north, so this row goes east-west. So when you orient rows east-west, you can really be strategic on what you place where. And I've talked about this before when I've explained this, but it's always nice to say it again. So on the north side, I put all the Mexican sunflowers, and you can see they're coming back from a recent pruning. Nice Plumeria pudica flowering as well. Super beautiful flowers. So the Mexican sunflower is a really good crop to put on the north of a row, because it will find that southern sunlight no matter what, because of its growth habit and how much it'll shoot to the sky. Whereas something like my turmeric, where it does want more shade, it does like a little bit of a shaded element, but there's plenty of pine trees here that give it that dappled shade, and these stable palms here. So you would think that the Mexican sunflower, which is a very sun-loving plant and needs the sun, you would think that you would want to put it to the south, because that's where because it needs more sun than the turmeric. Where the turmeric can handle more shade, you would think that it would be good to put it in the north. But I found that it works better like this, because the turmeric is not going to get any higher than this. So it can't look for that sunlight in case it needs it, in case the Mexican sunflowers get too big, because they're getting all that sunlight. And like I said, the pines here are giving off shade. Even the turmeric, even though it's exposed to the southern sun, it still has like this buffer here of all these plants. So I'm really happy that it came out the way it did, and that I chose to do it this way, because that leads me to have this really nice buffer from the street, but also it buffers the northern winds and anything else for expansion this way, which is to the south, which is more sunlight, which means that I could mess around with other crops during the winter when this dies back, when the turmeric dies back. I can mess around with the crops, and I've kind of already started doing that. Because turmeric does die back in winter, you can take advantage of that and start to put other things in its place kind of like a successional planting, or there's a term for it. But I put some cassavas. We've had some really bad winds from the tropical storm activity that's been brewing. We got real lucky with the dahlia. It didn't affect as much other than a little bit of wind. So some of my cassavas in the back got toppled over, so I pruned them back hard and took a lot of the cuttings to put over here. So I did experiment with putting a Mexican sunflower here because I still do want more coverage. This Mexican sunflower is good for that no matter what. But I don't want to put too much, like a big row like I did over there. I kind of just wanted to experiment with how that feels. Just one there. But another... Oh, wait, let me finish the point of what I was trying to make here. So when I first started it, it was like a mulch pathway, the bed of the turmeric, and another mulch pathway. And then what happens over time, and especially now that the millipede activity seems to be going full blast here on this property, very quickly, especially during the summer, what was once just like the edge of the bed and a pathway very quickly converts into like good enough soil for you to plant into. So now what was originally a bed this wide is now like double that because of and it helps to have things like ground covers like this to help break it down. So now my bed is extended double with just a little bit of time and patience. I can now you can see the sticks there of cassava. I can now put other things, and then this will die back, and then, if you don't get a bad frost, then the cassava should come up and at least hold the ground for a little bit. But if I were to have irrigation out here and want a cute little garden, like, a strip of a garden here, brassicas or something, I could, have a little impromptu watering can station here, and it would be beautiful, nice southern light with a kind of nice northern protection. So yeah, just ideas that are coming to my head as I'm seeing this develop some more. I also put turmeric in the actual like hedge row, which is really nice. Some of because I really wanted to experiment with just like how the turmeric would interact with all the other plants. It looks like they're definitely a little bit smaller than those that have more sun, but that's all right with me. Here's a Brugmansia angel trumpet flower, super beautiful flower. So a lot of like ornamental stuff too, just because this is like a kind of just a little fun experiment to see what I can get away with for a hedge. And I'm really liking the moringas starting to come into their own now. The cool thing about the moringas is that you could prune them at like, chest level, stomach level, and then they'll start their bushiness from there, which is kind of ideal for a hedge. Like theoretically I could chop this lower right here and it'll be even bushier than it is now. And I really like having Mexican sunflowers in the north because they can grow and produce the privacy and protection that I want, while the rest of this stuff kind of grows. And then when I cut the Mexican sunflower back, this stuff has already kind of grown into more of a wall. So the world's best mulberry is also doing amazing here. This is a really versatile mulberry. The fruit isn't that great, and I think it'd be good on me to water them pretty good once they're starting to fruit, because I've seen it where this summer, whenever we would get like a good streak of rain, the fruit on this would be so much more juicy and sweet and not as dry and tart whenever it didn't rain. And they take from cuttings and they're really they've been really vigorous. So I really am liking this mulberry as a hedge plant. Even though the fruit aren't amazing, it's all about different. I really love the multi-purposeness of trees. Of certain plants, and this world's best mulberry is really doing it for me. I really like its function as the hedge. So theoretically, another thing that I was thinking was a lot of these are looking nice and thick to take as cuttings. So I want to take a lot of these cuttings and then move them over there where that cassava line is, you know, and mulberries being more frost tolerant, or at least, you know, they'll take the frost and then bounce back, whatever they've evolved with frost, you know, so they know what to do. Like, it would be just in that more of a layer of protection right there with some more mulberries. And, you know, I definitely want to keep propagating these out just because they're so useful. I think that's what I'm probably going to end up doing. I'm not going to do like a little winter garden just because I don't like irrigating. So I'm probably going to continue to propagate and very densely a line of mulberries as this turmeric winds down. This is a dwarf Namois banana, and again, it's been growing very slow, but considering how little water it gets, I'm happy that it's actually growing and producing pups. Dwarf Namois are pretty slow growing, especially if you don't give them water. So it's been nice to see this kind of come into its own. Some random flower plants. I'm not sure what that's called. And again, the plumeria, pudica. I really like that plant too, with the white flowers. And see here where there wasn't as much plant coverage, the turmerics are doing a lot better. So that's good to see. I really am trying to squeeze turmeric into every corner that I can. So, but you can see here the moringas are kind of lanky and up, like not really doing a good job of like a privacy area. So if I were to cut it right here, then like in a few weeks it would be this bushy, a sort of a bushy wall. But I wanted to give the turmerics their space. So when the turmerics are done, then I might do the mulberries. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that I really like this sort of 3-layered system. And like when you're thinking about doing a privacy hedge, don't think about it just being this one line. Think about it having multiple lines so that you have so much flexibility. You know, this is a privacy hedge, but it has like 1, 2, 3, and like four different lines ish, so to speak. And they go and they build off each other, which is really nice. With the plants with the growth habit, chop and drop type plants to the north, you know, a mix of whatever you want. In the middle, maybe more sun loving, or plants that can't reach up to the sun for the south, and then so on and so forth. You can make it to whatever you desire. But I've been really liking the progress of the hedge, and I figured I'd do a small little update. Jack beans always present. Oh yeah, chaya is another good one. All these things that take from cuttings, I just whacked in here and kind of, you know, just saw what happened, and I've been really liking what's been happening. So that's it. Just wanted to do an update on this.